Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
And a Happy New Year! It's been a whole year since I came up to Phoenix to Barrow inpatient neuro rehab after my injury last year.
Yeah, it's been a year. Feels like much longer and much shorter all at the same time.
All at the same time. A lot of firsts. People have told me that it takes about 2 years to adjust. And I think I get that because like this whole year has been like the first time I did this, the first time I did that, the first time I left the hospital, the first time I forget.
Stood up, the first time you transferred by yourself, the first time you transferred to a car by yourself.
Yeah.
The first time you kayaked by yourself, the first time you rode a dirt bike, the first time I just check out the channel and you'll see a lot of the first times.
The first time I walked the dogs by myself.
The first time we stayed in a hotel.
Yeah. The first time I went to Thanksgiving with the family for...
And flew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, year 2, I think, is the first year things start to feel like whatever new normal is. So
yeah,
the 2-year thing makes sense.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been able to take a lot of time to be quiet over the last month or so and reflect on it. And that and doing a lot of work in physical therapy. So I have my leg braces and I have been able to do some walking in them in parallel bars. What do you call it? The
Frankenstein walk.
Frankenstein walking. I was joking that it was zombie walking. It's not that.
Taking on the world.
Here is one of my legs. I forgot socks one day at PT and I couldn't walk in them. It was sad. But they're pretty fancy legs. So this bends at my knee and then it locks and then I can use them to stand.
Yeah, and you're working on walking.
I am.
I feel like there's just so many first, and with the walking and thinking about everything, kind of brings up all the adventures we went on.
Yeah.
I know that we did a couple, I think, since the last update we really haven't talked about, and we really didn't shoot any videos. The last one I can think of is it's either the ride and row or it is going up to Flagstaff.
For the lesson on the mountain bike.
It might be the lesson on, no, it was
I did
the ride and row.
lesson
The lesson was before. So there is a video, thanks to Colette and Dennis Kufall.
Yeah.
My mother and father-in-law, so up in Michigan. Thank you guys.
We got a fancy new camera.
Yeah.
And there's some cool footage of me on the way from my first outing with that camera and a private mountain bike lesson up in Flagstaff.
Yeah.
Where I got to ride the Bomber, which is a mountain bike where you kneel into it and then lean over. And the thing I like about it is the traditional mountain bike handlebars. It feels like riding a mountain bike. So going downhill feels a lot more secure. Yeah. Rocks. What do you think?
January, there will be a video on that. But the ride and row, the last one we did, I was really hoping to the whole point was the Summer of Rec. It was kind of the pin in the Summer of Rec. And then we really didn't shoot enough video to make a video out of it.
That's okay.
But there's some funny stories that came out of it.
You've done a lot of amazing videos this year.
Yeah.
And I'm impressed and astounded and proud.
Thanks.
And glad to be a part of it with you.
It's been a lot of fun. I think the main reason why I wanted to do it was to help keep family informed, people informed, friends informed that are afar. And there's some really cool things that we're able to get connected to here that are part of rehab, part of paramedical things that are grant funded that are cheap.
Sports.
Yeah.
Non-profits, a lot of small non-profits who do a lot of amazing work supporting people with injuries like mine and lots of other disabilities.
So one of the funniest things that happened on that one was I asked multiple times, hey, we're going to be in Phoenix for this last one. Well, in Tempe.
Yeah.
Is it all right if are we going to do a trail where I can bring my bike? I only have a road bike.
Or is it going to be around Tempe Town Lake, which is all paved? And so multiple times, both of us asked, it's going to be, well, we're probably going to be around Tempe Town Lake. It's all paved. You can bring your road bike. It's fine.
Yeah. And we get
Jeff
there.
Jeff doesn't have his own mountain bike.
I don't. We get there, and luckily they brought an extra mountain bike for me. I don't have a ton of footage, but here is some of what happened.
Let's go.
Turn it up.
Let's go.
Turn it up.
Let's go.
Jeff would not have made it in his road bike at all.
My 1970s John Deere road bike would not have survived that, and I wouldn't have survived trying to do that with it.
That was a pretty epic end to our summer of rec therapy. And I got to meet in person somebody I had been following on Instagram. Does a lot of stuff with the adaptive mountain bike community. And it's really cool to be getting connected to that. There are a lot of people who are paraplegic or quadriplegic and love being outdoors.
What's the channel? Quad on a bike?
Yeah.
Quad on a bike.
Yeah.
Check it out. Shout out.
I'm really glad I got to meet.
Yeah. What are some other things that we've done since our last update video?
Yeah. So music has always been a huge part of my life. And so there's a couple of big things we did. We performed at the Tucson Disability Pride Day, which was super fun. They had a lift to get up to the stage. And then, eyeing every accessible stage I see. And so that was one piece of it. And the other piece is that I played piano for that event. And with a new, to me, pedal to trigger the sustain on that piano. So I had two options by the time that event rolled around, actually. Jeff had worked on this amazing pedal that sits in my chair and then I can lean back on. And Jeff also went up to this table at one of the conferences we went to for ASTAP, which does technology lending. And they do a lot with, how can people control computers, even if they have much less function, or with like an eye blink. I tried an eye blink switch, but it's kind of weird. I couldn't quite get the hang of that one. And they had a switch that I could also control, but was a little bit smaller, or a lot of it smaller. So I ended up using that one for the Disability Pride Day event.
It's called a wobble switch.
Yeah.
A wobble switch. And it is really a lot slicker of a solution. I know initially I was kind of hoping for this laser pedal.
One of these days.
One of these days, maybe. We did look at a couple that were light sensors.
Yeah.
And the light sensors are really hard to control, especially if you're on stage and your lighting elements are changing.
Yeah.
And as we were experimenting, the wobble switch, which is a mechanical switch, seemed to be a really, really solid solution. So
it was nice to have that tactile feedback because I'm using it behind my back. And so I can feel it a little bit, and it's got a bit of a click to it when it engages. And so that helped a lot.
Yeah. And I thought it was a slick way to solve the solution. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get a wobble switch and make something happen.
Yeah. I'll keep playing piano.
Yeah. The other performance that you got to do, and I was really excited to see you on stage singing with choir again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. They've been so welcoming to me. And yeah. And again, with my accessible stages, I'm always like, ooh, this ramp, this way they built that in is so cool. And then this other one had a lift, and I actually got to push the button and go up myself on the lift, which was really fun. Yeah. Usually other people do it for me.
Or they break, because at the Disability Pride event, the lift broke for a while.
Yeah, we were like waiting. No.
And then I was on stage and telling awful jokes that...
You should tell us a joke.
The other thought that I had was I asked my boss recently for a raise before we came here, but a simple no would have been nice, not turning off the lift. That's a bit much.
It's bad. It's all bad.
And so with the Arizona Girl Choir, I know one of the things that has been a goal in the back of my mind with the braces is that for our next concert, maybe I'll be able to walk out on stage with a walker and my braces instead of using my wheelchair and stand to sing with them.
We got to travel for the longest we've ever traveled for Thanksgiving in a vehicle.
Yes.
Made it.
We did not fly.
We did not fly.
We drove.
Lots of gear. And that's probably for the better. But yeah, we got to drove, saw my brother, and got to see our nieces, and helped our niece learn to get functional on a bicycle.
Yes.
And Vanessa worked on smart drive skills.
I did. So my smart drive goes on the back of my chair as this motor and pushes me around, right? And there's two ways I can control it. I've got a dial on my wheelchair that I can pull up and kind of control the speed back and forth and start and stop it. But I can also use my Apple Watch. And it's got this thing where if I tap it twice, then it goes, and once, it's all this stuff that is involved. And so I tried it out in Walmart one of the first times I did, and it goes with you and your mom, like, get out of the way, I don't know how to make it stop.
Jumping out of the way.
No one was injured at my escapades at trying my smart drive at Walmart. But it was really fun to go see my niece, and she was like, will you race me? I'm like, yeah, I'll race you. We are, again, so thankful for all of the support we've had in this crazy journey this year. Thinking again about last year and just the prayers, the visits, the financial support, overwhelming and really enabled us to be where we are today. I'm so thankful that due to all that support, Jeff was able to come right up and stay with me here when I was in inpatient rehab in Phoenix. Was able to stay just a couple blocks from the hospital where I was at. Always ready to come in and talk to the doctor whenever they came and did rounds, and learn anything in physical therapy might be needed for, and just be around to make sure I could reach my Cheez-Its.
Yeah, the amount of support we got, it blows me away thinking about it.
Yeah.
Lights stayed on. We were able to make it.
Yeah.
Huge provision for us for this past year. It's been amazing. So thank you.
Along with that, people often ask for prayer requests, and really going into this next phase, this next year, is for smooth transitions. I'll transition with insurance from kind of this active phase of care to a long-term supportive phase of care where they have to think of, everything possible that could happen with my injury that might ever happen in the future, and what, they might need to be covered. And so just that all of those processes go well and smoothly, and for wisdom on everybody's part.
I think one of the coolest things that a lot of people do, you're at the year end, we're at the end of a year. There's a lot of ways we could look at it. We can look at this past year and go, oh, what's all the things that we have lost? But I feel like since the beginning, we've been pretty good about trying to reframe the situation and think about the positives. And I think it's done a lot of good for us, like turn it into an adventure.
Yeah.
Onto adventure, right? So what are our top 10 things that, as we look back on the year, as you look back on the year, they're your like top 10, not necessarily in the order they probably should go in. Like
Just the order I thought of them first in the car when you asked me earlier today.
So if somebody's at the end of the list, it's not a priority list here. We'd all be a little offended because number one is
learning to do wheelies. I mean, if you're it dawned on me like early on in the hospital, like, oh, I get to use a wheelchair. Like, there's just this moment of like childlike fun of like, well, I get to play with a wheelchair.
It's terrifying too. So we went to Thanksgiving with my family, and my aunt had just had leg surgery or ankle surgery, foot surgery, and had to be in a wheelchair for a while. And they have a West Texas style house, so like the dens sink down,
a couple steps down.
And my uncle built a ramp.
Yeah.
And Vanessa's like, nope, I'm doing this independent. And it was a steeper ramp than 88 grade. My uncle even said it. He just made it quickly so that there was access to the house.
It's lovely.
And Vanessa, and I didn't get any video of this. Like, we're all.
I probably couldn't have done it if people were videoing it because everybody was looking at me.
They're holding
the whole
our breath.
Thanksgiving. And I'm like, everybody stop looking at me. We're not going to be able to do it.
And she got in a wheelie and she was able to go down the ramp in a wheelie.
I sure was.
And it was just impressive.
And then there was applause. It felt great.
Yeah. The danger of her chair being closer to the like independent style wheelchair that a wheelchair user would use is the other day I was just messing around and
we were dancing.
Yeah, dancing with you and spinning you. And I accidentally spun you out of your chair. So that's a danger of wheelies in a tippier chair.
But, and then we got to practice getting me back in my chair like we've been practicing in physical therapy. Right. So
we've learned how to have softer landings, which is good skills.
Yeah.
Yep. What's number two?
Number two, Jeff getting to be with me in the hospital.
Yeah.
I just talked about that a lot, but I'm thankful I didn't have to do that alone.
What is number three?
Three, getting to go back to work. I am so lucky that I have a fantastic job and that they have been so flexible with me in being able to work remotely, and that just what I do lends itself to doing that. Most library jobs that I've had wouldn't have worked. They just wouldn't have worked that way. And I get to work with so much technology that I can do it remotely. And that's just been a great thing to keep my mind engaged, to have goals, to keep me encouraged this past year.
Number four.
I
think it's the 10th year, our 10-year anniversary trip.
Yes.
Train.
Yes.
Plane. No, it wasn't a plane. It was train and a hotel stay. Yeah. It was really awesome. Thanks, Mom. Again, we didn't really think we were going to be able to do anything for our 10-year anniversary, given everything that happened. And it was a blessing. And if you haven't seen it, I know that that's one of the ones that I highlighted as like, oh, this is too cool to not like take videos and see if I can picture
You've
stuff
been
together.
making such cool videos out of everything we did on that trip. And we didn't even have fancy cameras yet. So
I mean, check one of these. I think the third one dropped, so the series is done.
Yes.
It's done. So check it out. If you like it, share it. It's a fun trip.
Yeah. Number 5, trying adaptive mountain bikes. It's been awesome to be able to get back outside, to go places I couldn't go in this normal wheelchair, and meet some cool people in the adaptive mountain bike community.
Yeah, I made quite a few friends that we've been able to share some meals with and play games, and it's been wonderful having just a new community of friends because of that.
Yeah.
And the mountain bikes are insane, and the people that you're around are amazing, and they push you harder and faster than probably most therapies, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing. I think it's a great thing. Rec therapy, man. It's a thing, and it's for us, it's been a godsend definitely this year.
Yeah.
And the price of those bikes. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Like there's no way we would have been able to do it if it wasn't for the program. So I think kind of lumped into that, and I think it also ties into the next one is
being connected to Ability 360 and especially the outdoor program. I have to throw in there too the
High Country Adaptive Sports.
Yes.
Yes.
Because both of those, they're such great partners. And I've gotten to try several different bikes thanks to them. And even if I was going out to like buy my own adaptive mountain bike, the information and skills that I need to figure out how to use each one, I wouldn't have without these programs and the amazing instructors and rec therapists who work with them.
Well, and people that can help us, you know, like you're looking at this price tags going, how is this possible? There are grants for that.
Yeah.
And they help connect you and help you see the path on, oh, well, you can actually work toward owning your own by doing this, or this, or have you thought of this? And that's just great, having people troubleshoot it.
And then, oh, well, there's this, you know, largest mountain bike adaptive gathering in the world in Northwest Arkansas, where we have family.
Fayetteville, Arkansas. Can you believe that?
Yeah, I can't wait for next year.
Yeah, man. We have to make a stop back.
I'm so excited.
See some family.
Mountain bikes, new friends. It'll be a good time.
All right, number 6. I think it's 7 technically on the sheet.
I think there might be 11.
But we
on
lumped
there.
2 together, and I knew there was 11, so this is number 6.
Okay. This one is physical therapy. I'm so thankful to have ended up at Touchstone Physical Therapy. They even have a dog, which is lovely. Nutmeg comes and says hi and encourages me when I'm feeling discouraged.
Touchstone's pretty awesome. There's a lot of amazing people there that, again, help in ways that
I never would have thought of.
Yeah.
It's silly little adjustments to my wheelchair that are like, here, try this. And I'm like, oh, that changes how everything feels that I would have never thought of.
Yeah. So huge shout out to Dan at Touchstone. Thank you specifically. And all of your team. Your team is amazing. So,
yeah.
Number, what were we on? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Few moments later.
Number 8.
8. Johnny and Friends Marriage Getaway. It was fun.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Yeah.
And again, it's kind of like trying to figure out networking into the religious side of what do we do? What do we do with our faith? How do we connect with people again?
And that's a challenge.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I've only begun to even think about that side of things where, church and my faith have always been an important piece in my life. And church just feels so different now. And I see things differently. And I'm like, wow, how many stages at churches would I have ever been able to get on in a wheelchair that I've been in? And how do we think about that? And how does that affect how the church lives out the call to the gospel and meeting different people who are really passionate about making sure people with disabilities are included in the regular life of the church? So it's been an interesting start to what I'm sure will be a fruitful journey going forward.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to learn about the bigger mission.
Yeah,
because I know that they do so much: warrior getaways, wounded warrior trips, family camps to help give families that have been touched by disability breaks and
connection with other people who've gone through the same thing. That's huge, And one of the things I think the church does surprisingly well is being able to connect people in small groups. Like small groups and Bible studies are something that's been a part of every church I've been a part of. And it's funny how, being in the secular world, there's different support groups and things. And as I've tried a few, I've always found it easier to plug into a church, and churches sometimes have structures that make that easier. And then I'm like, I want to put this structure in this way to help those people connect there. And so who knows what that'll look like. But
the other thing about Johnny and Friends that I'm really interested in is their wheelchair network, to getting wheelchairs to parts of the world where they don't get access to a wheelchair. I can't imagine doing this past year and not having access to a wheelchair. Yeah. What would we have done? I would have carried you everywhere. Yeah. You would have scooted on the ground on your butt. And you might have done that once just because the inaccessible bathrooms of my family.
Oh yeah, I did that. I did try that.
Yeah, you did. But that would be life all of the time. Yeah. Like not some of the time. And I think that I want to learn and grow more next year about how can we help that mission, because that's a pretty noble mission. Yeah. And I'm sure they do some domestic things too, but I want to learn more about that side of Johnny and Friends. Number 9.
Getting to play and sing on accessible stages. I mentioned that before when I was talking about the different performances, but it has been eye-opening to notice accessibility in lots of different places, but especially getting onto any kind of stage.
I think for me, and doing the amount of churches we've both been in, me and the Salvation Army, and reaching all these different churches, I definitely have a different view of church and what we're doing, and seeing it in a way that I never would have seen it pre the accident. And I would love to continue to explore and understand and dig into my own feelings.
Yeah.
But also, as I'm going through seminary and I'm doing other things, how can we be a good light and a solid place to help people connect, where after an accident, they might never want to pick up an instrument again when they can.
Yeah.
And they might never want to sing again, but it's like they're super talented and they can. Well, let's plug them in. Let's get them on a stage. Let's get them plugged back into worship ministry, because we are the church. It doesn't have to look polished. It doesn't have to look perfect all of the time. And that's hard. That's countercultural in the church world.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel like this growing in me, and I want to see where that goes next year. Number 10.
Hospitality of good friends in Sierra Vista. I know we've made some trips down there and been able to stay with friends. Times when it got really hot in Phoenix and we just needed to get out of Phoenix and somewhere 20 degrees cooler. Friends were there to welcome us and offer their homes and kitchens and food and fellowship. Craig and Lauren and Seth and Rebecca, thank you so much.
And those, while Vanessa was in the middle of the accident, that offered a place for our dogs.
Yeah.
Huge. The Migrants and Seth and Rebecca and Craig and Lauren also.
Mm-hmm.
Just huge. And that leads into the next joint one, because it's still hospitality and family and friends. Is our family and visits and church care. And just, I don't know how to say thank you enough.
Yeah.
From the moment I had to get to Bisbee.
Yeah.
Oh, Roger was there. And his wife, they met me, they were there with me, they were praying with me, to visiting us in Tucson, even though I was a bit of a jerk and dealing with insurance, but he was there caring for us and praying with us. And
yeah.
Pastor Jesse and all the men that helped me get my house ready.
Yeah.
All the people that helped come over and paint the house. And,
fix the dent that I made in the garage wall where
It's, making stools for us to actually be able to use the restroom. Small things that are huge things
that we use every day.
People that were able to help feed us along the way. People that were able to, the list is so long, and we are doing our best to work on. We want to officially acknowledge everything that we can.
The stranger who first heard me right after my accident and called the police and found where I was.
Yeah. And I think family coming down to see us and being with us, and
the moms, both moms, took turns, tag teamed. They were here together for a while and
helped move us.
Really enjoyed each other's company, I think.
Yeah, it's just I couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah.
The continuous love and care we have from our church family down in Sierra Vista. We love you guys and our family and everybody that's reached out, and people we don't even know that have helped us through this time.
Yeah.
Like it has been wonderful. And I want you to know, each and every single one of you, I have seen a wonderful side of God and God's love and care and providence through you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, as we leave this year, I guess there's one thing left to say. On to adventure. Let's see how next year goes. I'm sure there'll be lots of adventures.
Absolutely.
It wasn't recording?
I think it was.